Finally, a car company comes along and instead of talking about what they're going to potentially do, they just go ahead and do it. I'm really excited because it's been a while since I've been into an opportunity where I can get in on the front end and really see, like, not just what the hype is about, but is this car every single thing that people say it is? Well, I got a chance, you guys saw the trailer, to actually drive this car. Well, this time, we're gonna take a deeper dive look into not only the car, the interior, but there's some other things that I also wanna make sure that we talk about. Because for a lot of people, the only reason why you don't have an electric vehicle right now is because, well, range anxiety. You're also thinking about, well, I don't know if this car is gonna do all the things that my current internal combustion engine, also known as ICE, would do. And I think Ford has answered a lot of those questions. So today, we're gonna talk about that and more. And I wanna give you guys a really good understanding of why I personally believe this car is something you should give a shot, like, right now. One of the great things that we got to start with is this look and this logo, because I know what you're thinking. Wait a second, that's a Mustang logo right there. Why would they put a Mustang logo on something? Let's just stop. Here's the thing you got to remember. Ford has evolved just like anything else. Do you remember your first iPhone? Remember now what it looks like today, right? Things have evolved. This right here is the electric version and the idea and the reality of what that might feel like and look like. What I actually like about the way they've done this front is they've given you that nostalgic feel, but also at the same time, let you know that, hey, it's time to grow. It's time to move up and build something that is for the consumer right now. Now, one of the cool things that I also like is there's actually the front camera is based here, but then also you have 3 different sensors across the front. This right here, you might wonder, like, well, what's the purpose of that? Well, remember, air intake, batteries, things get hot. Well, guess what? These flaps actually fold up and down. Yeah, so that actually ensures that the battery stays cool and also allows air to come in, because remember, you're running your AC, you have things going on inside of the cabin of the car too. But I love this black layout around here. It's these strong edges. Again, I'm a fan of body styles. Like, if the body style ain't cool, I'm not gonna love it. I love this body style. And can we just be honest? This blue, perfect. Now, these headlights are a thing of beauty. What I like about what they did is this actually is lit right now. You also have these kind of 3 vertical lines that have a little curve to them. Then you also have your LED and halogens in here as well. Now listen, I love the way they've built this, and it's recessed into the actual car as well. It's also one of the cool things, again, it's about aesthetics and detail. To be able to ensure that you pull off something that goes well with the car, they actually trail when they come on. Man, I'm telling you, at night, this is a beautiful look. So one of the things you'll notice is how large this brake pad is. And you feel it when you're driving. I actually like the way they built this. Now, one of the things that EVs are traditionally known for is they're trying to give you some style with the rim, but you also have to remember they have to build this for efficiency. So it can't be creating more drag just to look good, right? So sometimes the look and the way they build them has a lot more to do with what can they get away with to aesthetically make it look good, but also at the same time ensure that we're reducing the amount of drag and that wind can pass through very easily. Now, the reason why this brake pad would be so large at this point is because, remember, EVs are leveraging something known as regenerative braking. Regenerative braking basically is taking the energy from trying to stop a car and putting the energy back into the actual vehicle battery itself. Well, this large bad boy here is doing a lot of that work. In fact, one of the cool parts about doing that is you can actually see it in real time inside of the car to know just how efficient the car is at stopping. Now, why would that be important to you? If you're used to kind of replacing your brake pads or rotors a whole lot, well, guess what? Don't have to worry about with this one because you barely use your brake on the car. Once you get used to learning how to just let your foot off the gas and allow the car to be able to brake itself, this thing will come to a complete stop on its own. Now, as we go through the car, here's a couple of things I want you to know. I love this Mach-E sitting right here. So guys, one of the cool things about the way they went about the attention to detail, first of all, I'm a sightline guy. So I'm gonna pull this around and I want you to just see how cool that looks. Going up towards the front of the car, towards the tires, that is beautiful. You also have your black gloss running alongside the bottom, kind of as your running board that does not open. But then again, you have your red caliper brakes towards the back. But I also want to show you something that's really cool too. So most people will look at this car and go, okay, well, Chris, how do you open it? Because I don't see any door handles. Well, it's okay, because the way they did this is now everything is to touch. Once you actually touch this button, the door opens and you see the little light happen there. So every single section to open the car is with the touch now. That is really cool. All right, so guys, let's talk about some safety features that are built into cars where there's no door handles, but once you do open it, you notice this little crack. So for those of you who have little children, right, you know how kids do. They run in and get to slamming and they might mess around and hurt their finger. Well, guess what? Once you touch that button, this door does not close. See me pressing on the body of it will not open. You have to fully open the door. Ladies and gentlemen, that is called a safety feature. And I am sure there were some mamas who had a whole lot to do with that feature. That is one cool feature. So now I want you to take a look at the back end of this car. First and foremost, let's be real. The light situation here is a really, really great job. I like what they've done to the lighting section. One, you have this here. This doubles and triples for different functionalities. Stop, your actual turn signals. You feel this red turns to yellow here. But then you also have your Mustang symbol in the back, and then you have your other side here. What I love about the way they built the back end of this car is they really made sure that, again, when you see it coming down the street, it's beefier, right? But again, if you try not to use your nostalgic imagination, you will find a really great love for this car. Now, you also have 4 different sensors along the bottom, and then you have 2 flanking either side. Now that's helping you with auto steer, all of the other functions that go into the car, along with your rear camera as well. Now, one of the fun features about this car is actually what we call in the EV world a FRUNK. Basically, it's your front trunk. FRUNK. Not only did Ford provide you with one, but they kind of stepped it up a notch. Let me introduce you to the way Ford did this. Now, what's cool about the way Ford did this is there's a lot of space and it's very deep, but you can customize this in such a way that you can use some different options. Let me kind of get you guys in here and show you what I'm talking about. So when you look right here, first of all, this opens up really wide. The other cool part is you see the logo right there. You see it. Now take a look at this. Ain't that something? So ladies and gentlemen, this is not only just your frunk, but it is also a cooler. It is also a place to store your cans and trash, and it is also a place to store your extra stuff as well. This section right here comes as an option. You can get it added to the car, but I actually like it. We use this, actually, I'll pop up some pictures from when we had a full set of drinks and everything else. It also, you can fill it up with ice, and there's a drain on the inside and drains down out in the bottom as well. This is like one of the coolest little things ever. And again, Ford thought of everything when it comes to giving you ideas of what you can do with their brand new Mach-E. All right, so some people would look at this and go, man, that does not look like it's got a lot of space. I'm curious, I'm wondering. Well, guess what? this actually does have a lot of space. What I like about it is, again, the seats do go down. You do have a sunshade screen here. Not only do you have that, but it also comes with all of the protection that you need to make sure that you protect the interior. Has the Ford logo on it with the Mustang logo on it. And what's also even better is once you let the seats down, not only do you have the space to be able to put everything in, but remember, again, I don't want you to think old school Mustang two-seaters in no space. I want you to think family. I want you to think your travel. I want you to think anything that you would do today, right now, with your SUV, with your crossover car, you can make sure that you have that same experience right here in the Mach-E. All right, guys. So now let's talk about the interior of this car. First and foremost, we'll start with the door. Remember that blue? Guess what? They continued it down the edge of this door. I actually like this stitching. It's actually throughout the interior of the door that you're gonna love. Now, here's the other cool part. See that B&O? That's right, Bang & Olufsen interior. I love this. It's got the actual grate behind it, but I love this kind of mesh gray look for the interior. That looks awesome as well. We come over here, as you see, here's the Bang & Olufsen speaker. They continue it up here on the dash. Look how beautiful this is, and it's a very tight stitch. You'll also notice up top here, one of the things that most people don't realize is that this space is actually really large, and there you've got another speaker. One of the things that you all want to see and everybody wants to know is, what does this thing look like? Well, here is the steering wheel. The steering wheel ensures, I'm gonna cut this thing on. You're gonna be able to see, there's the entire setup. Your tachometer shows you everything is open. We've got our screen on. We'll get to our screen in a moment. But here's your steering wheel, guys. Here's the crazy part. This button right here is not just cruise control. That is actual self-driving. So that is a trip. Got a chance to do that in the car. But you will see some of your standard setup for what you're used to in the car. You've got your wonderful Mustang logo here. And again, one of the things that I always complain about certain steering wheels is I don't have a space to put my hands at the bottom. Well, guess what? I like driving with my hands down here, and man, they did a good job. Also have this little piece here. Now, you might be noticing it on camera. You're noticing some flashing. Well, that's actually paying you attention inside of the car when you're driving. This is actually a very, very good thing to be able to make sure you're alert, you're not falling asleep, those types of things when you're in auto steer. Here's your screen, which is amazing. Has your range, tells you what's going on inside of your car. You're able to see your actual car, your miles, and then also changing of the gears as well. Now, also below, you'll notice what I love. I'm so glad they did this. This gloss black is amazing, but also I've got a USB-C and a USB charger in here. And guess what? This is not just a place to put your phone and everything else. You see the symbol there. Yes, that's right. Wireless charging right here inside of the console. Now, when it comes to changing and shifting gears, guess what? You're able to do that with the turn of a knob. So this knob actually turns all the way around to drive, all the way back down to park. You have your park lane assist. You also have your SOS, and you have your emergency brake here as well. Everybody wants to know about this screen. As you can see, this screen is massive, but it's not so big that it feels uncomfortable. It's just something, again, for an electric vehicle that you get used to. Now, you'll notice up here, if I tap this button, it gives me all of my options. Here's some cool things that I also want to make sure people know. One, comes standard with Waze. That's right. And Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. But here's something you might not know. Apple CarPlay is wireless. Yes, a wireless experience. And Ford Play is where you can download even more apps into the actual experience as well. Now, I want to also show you something that happens on the Apple Watch that you might also find very, very cool. Right here on the Apple Watch, you have, for the first time ever, a native app to be able to turn on, lock, and unlock the car. Guys, this is absolutely insane, already built into the Ford Mach-E. Now, when you start talking about the controls, once you press the car up here, you'll notice some different driving modes: engage, whisper, and unbridled. What does that have to do with? That has everything to do with the driving experience that you have. Engage is basically, I want you to think about the braking and regeneration. The further you go down, the more you're gonna feel, the more of a different experience you're gonna notice. You also have your cameras. Now, what I love about these cameras is not only do you have a camera for front and back, you also have the top-down version of the 360-degree angle. But let's say I'm looking at my front camera here and I want a better view. Well, I can go widescreen, baby. And guess what? I can do that on the back and the front as well. This car has everything that you would expect a premium car to have. Here are all of your controls for your volume, and trust me, the system sounds amazing, along with your seat functionality, and all that you need is controlled from right here. For some of you, you might be wondering, man, how do some of these things work inside of this car? Well, here's some additional settings you might want to know about. One pedal drive. I love this. I'm used to this driving an electric vehicle myself, but basically, remember I mentioned the regenerative braking. When you have on one pedal drive in the Ford Mach-E, again, you reduce your need for using your actual brake. It will take some getting used to if it's not something that you're familiar with. But what's great about being able to do this is this car will make sure that it stops on its own, and it uses that energy to put back into the battery. The other cool creature feature they have is the auto ambient light section. You can actually choose to customize this to your liking of colors, but you can also have an auto ambient light section so that as the day goes down, the lights can get brighter, and you can also change the colors. They have several colors for you available. But propulsion sound, this is the one I wanted to talk about. Some of you might have a little bit of nostalgic feel and you're like, man, I miss the roar of that engine. I miss the way it sounds. Well, guess what? They have the sound built in to the car. So if you want to turn this on and you want to feel that level of what you're used to back in the old days, well, guess what? They put it in here for you, and I promise you, you will love the way it sounds. Now, listen, we're sitting inside of the cockpit. If you've ever wanted to have like a great feel, I mean, look at this. Look how much room. Now, I'm a tall guy, okay? I'm a guy that's 6'2", right? So I have height. The level of height in here is amazing. And here's the other cool part that I want you to pay attention to. The panoramic sunroof is amazing. It is, it's a good feeling, right? But also, some people might wonder like, oh, in the summertime, does it get too hot? Nope, it does not get hot. You might also be wondering, does the AC work in here? Well, let me tell you right now, the AC gets cold. You want to get cold, it will happen for you. You want the heat, it will happen for you. The other thing that I really do enjoy about this car and the interior is this stitching. So you'll notice there's blue all over the seats. The stitching is continued throughout the interior of the car. And I know that that was an intentional look. Good shout out to you, Ford, for continuing that, because sometimes it's the little details that make the most difference. Now, I do want to answer the question about range, because some people are like, hey, Chris, what's the range on this car? What am I going to get if I decide to jump into a Mach-E? Well, let me talk to you about that. See, as a fellow owner of an EV myself, I know what it feels like to feel range anxiety. Range anxiety is basically like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get where I need to be while I'm driving this car. Well, hold on. Ford took care of that and gave you something to help ease you into the EV experience. Now, to note, one of the things that the Ford Mach-E will get you is 270 miles to the charge. We're sitting at 84% battery, which gives us about a 225 mile range. Well, guess what Ford decided to do? For those of you who need to feel a little bit more comfortable, they decided to put a bubble right on the map. And what does that bubble represent? It represents how far you can go on your current charge. And guess what? It is taking into account things like weather. Notice the weather's right here. In all these different areas, it is letting you know that guess what? You're safe. You'll be able to get to where you need to be. And by leveraging Electrified America, I promise you when you pull up the map, there is a charging station for you in every single direction. Good job, Ford. Not only was he able to get that many miles in this car, my friend Sergio picked his up in California and drove his all the way to Florida. All right, good people. So I want you guys to meet Sergio. He is the owner of this Ford Mach-E. Now, like I said, he had the opportunity to not only get his one of 70, but also being able to go from California and drive this thing to Florida. So the people want to know, because a lot of people have range anxiety and they want to know, is this thing true? Am I going to get what this thing tells me? Tell everybody about your experience.
So mine was effortless. The car actually is very conservative with telling you when to charge, how much time to charge. What I did is when I left California, it told me to stop in El Centro, California before getting to Yuma. I skipped that charger because I'm experienced. I skipped that charger, went all the way to Yuma, and still had 10% when I got to Yuma, Arizona. I drove a total of 225 miles, and that's going through mountainous range. I've been able to pull 250 miles, 260 miles out of this car effortlessly. It is true to its range. If it's telling you on there, this is what you're getting, that's what you're going to get. Of course, if you start putting your foot into it, if you want to drive in unbridled, you're going to change that up a little bit. But if you're trying to get someplace and you're driving with your family, you're going to make it. The charging stations there's an infrastructure that exists in order to support this vehicle for you to drive cross country. I did it. I've taken this car, I have almost 8,000 miles on this car. I've been down to Miami, I've been back up, I've been up north a little bit, I've gone to Atlanta, I've gone all over the place, and I can tell you, this car will get you there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this look of the Ford Mach-E. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a share, like, and a subscribe, or leave a comment below of things that you're looking forward to in enjoying this Ford. Thank you so much to Ford for making a great, dope car. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next episode.